Welcome, dear friend. If you've found your way here, it's not by chance. This moment, this message, it's all part of a grand design. You are not reading this at random. Your soul has been guided to hear it. The path you walk as a chosen one is uniquely yours, yet it carries with it the universal truth. Every chosen one goes through seasons of transformation, and the moment you find yourself in right now is one of those. You are standing on the precipice of something monumental. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. In every chapter of life, especially the ones that challenge us, there lies hidden treasure. But often, it's buried beneath layers of doubt, fear, and uncertainty. You might not see it right now, and the road ahead may feel long and uncertain, but there is a divine purpose unfolding in your life. The transformation you're undergoing, the trials you're facing, are not random or without meaning. They are shaping you for something greater. This is the season of brokenness, a time of refinement that prepares you to step into the fullness of your calling. It's easy to feel discouraged in these times, to believe that the struggles are insurmountable, but they are not. They are the very soil in which your breakthrough will sprout. As you read this, know that your breakthrough is already in the works. It's on its way, just waiting for you to claim it. I want you to take a moment, right now, and leave 77 in the comments below. Let this be your declaration, your affirmation to the universe that you are ready to embrace the next phase of your journey. Your breakthrough is close, and today marks the moment you will remember as the beginning of something extraordinary. Understanding the sacred season of brokenness. The season of brokenness is not one of mere hardship, pain, or suffering. It is a sacred period of transformation, where the divine is at work within you, refining your spirit, strengthening your resolve, and clearing the path for your purpose to unfold. It's the crucible in which your true self is revealed. Just as gold must be subjected to intense heat to burn away the impurities, so too must we undergo trials to emerge purer, stronger, and more aligned with our higher calling. In these seasons, God's presence is most active, even when it feels like you are abandoned. It is during these moments of vulnerability, confusion, and struggle that God is doing His most profound work in you. Every emotion you feel, every challenge you face, is part of the process of becoming the person you were meant to be. The old patterns that no longer serve your higher self are being stripped away. Relationships, habits, mindsets, they may be torn down so that something far greater can be built. This is where the sacredness lies. The process of brokenness is not a punishment, but a preparation. It is a divine alignment of your spirit with your purpose. The uncomfortable circumstances are God's way of making you into a vessel that can carry His light more fully. You are not simply enduring pain, you are being purified. As the refining fire burns away the old you, the true essence of who you are, your purpose, your gifts, your mission, will rise to the surface. You are being molded, shaped, and prepared for something greater than you can imagine. This season, though difficult, is an essential part of your journey to greatness. The deceptive lies of doubt. One of the greatest enemies you will face in this season of brokenness is doubt. It's that whisper in your ear telling you that you are forgotten, unworthy, or that the struggles you are enduring are signs that God has turned His back on you. It is a lie, a cunning deception designed to make you feel isolated, weak, and alone. The voice of doubt is one of the enemy's oldest tricks, and it is crafted to undermine your faith and halt your progress. But remember, trials are not signs of God's absence. They are often evidence of His active presence. In John 16:33, Jesus tells us that in this world we will face trouble, but He also promises us something more powerful. He has overcome the world. These troubles, these hardships are not random events. They are tools in God's hands, shaping us for greater things. The lies of doubt cannot stand against the truth that you are loved, chosen, and being refined for a purpose. When doubt comes knocking, remember this: your trials are not evidence of God's abandonment, but proof that He is preparing you for something greater. Every struggle, every challenge, every painful moment is being used to build the foundation of your breakthrough. Hold tight to God's promises. Romans 8:28 reminds us that all things work together for good for those who love God, who are called according to His purpose. no matter what you're facing. Know that God is using it for your good, for your transformation. The pruning process, preparing you for greater things. Pruning is not a process that is easy or comfortable, but it is essential for growth. Just like a gardener prunes a tree, cutting away the branches that no longer bear fruit to encourage new growth, God is in the business of pruning our lives. It may feel like you are losing things, relationships, opportunities, even parts of your identity that once defined you. But understand that what God is removing is not meant to harm you. It's making space for something far greater. In John 15:2, Jesus explains, "Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, and every branch that bears fruit he prunes that it may bear more fruit." The pruning process can be painful. It requires us to let go of old ways of thinking, behaviors, and attachments that no longer serve the path God has set before us. But it is not a punishment. It is preparation for the next level of blessing, growth, and purpose. During the pruning, you might feel empty, like something vital has been taken from you. But know this, God is not removing these things because you are unworthy. He is making room for something better. The cutting away of the old is the very thing that makes way for the new. Just as a gardener knows exactly what to cut and what to nurture, God knows exactly what areas of your life need refinement. Trust in this process. The very things you may feel you are losing now could be the very things holding you back from receiving the fullness of God's blessings in the future. This is not a time for resistance, but a time for faith. Trust that the pruning, though uncomfortable, is shaping you for something magnificent. You are being prepared for your breakthrough, and the space that is being created within you will soon be filled with growth, wisdom, and blessings beyond what you can imagine. Suffering with purpose, the path of faithful endurance. Suffering is a part of the human experience that none of us can escape. Yet, as chosen ones, we are called to understand that our suffering is not purposeless. It is not random nor without reason. Every tear, every moment of heartache, every trial we face is a necessary part of the journey toward greatness. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that pain is a sign of divine absence or that it somehow diminishes our worth. But this belief couldn't be further from the truth. Your suffering is, in fact, a powerful testimony of your faith and your ability to endure. Endurance is not just about surviving the storm, it's about thriving in the storm. It's about knowing that the challenges you face today are refining you, building you, and preparing you for the promise of tomorrow. Faithful endurance is the path of the chosen one, and it is a path that leads directly to victory. In James 1:12, we are reminded that blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. Enduring through suffering with faith means you are not just passively waiting for the storm to pass. You are actively allowing the storm to shape you, to teach you, and to strengthen you for the glory that is to come. It's important to understand that suffering, when endured with purpose, is not an obstacle, but a stepping stone to spiritual maturity. The pain you face today will serve as the foundation for the power, wisdom, and anointing you will walk in tomorrow. Through every hardship, God is crafting something beautiful in you, shaping you into the person who will carry his light and purpose into the world. Embrace your suffering with faith, knowing that it has purpose and that your endurance will bring you closer to your divine breakthrough. The strength found in the valley. The valley is where the chosen ones are often called to walk. It is a place of deep struggle, isolation, and vulnerability. Yet, it is in the valley that we are often forged into the strongest versions of ourselves. The valley may seem like a place of darkness, but in truth, it is the place where God's presence is most profoundly felt. It is in the valley that we discover a strength that we never knew we had, a strength that is not our own. But that comes directly from the power of God. Psalm 23:4 says, "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me." The valley is not meant to destroy you, it is meant to refine you. In the valley, you learn to trust God in ways that are impossible on the mountaintop. It is here that you learn to rely on his strength, and His provision. And it is here that you are prepared for the higher ground that awaits you. As you walk through the valley, you may feel weak, but that weakness is not something to fear. It is in your weakness that God's strength is made perfect. You are not walking this journey alone. You are walking it with a mighty, powerful God who will never leave your side. The valley becomes the place where you gain the strength to carry you through the storms of life, to overcome obstacles, and to rise into the fullness of your purpose. The valley, though difficult, is not a sign of abandonment. It is a training ground for the strength you need to walk in your destiny. Remember, no valley is ever permanent. It is simply a season, and every season has its purpose. God is using this time to build resilience in you, to deepen your faith, and to prepare you for what lies ahead. When you emerge from the valley, you will do so with greater strength, a greater sense of purpose, and a deeper relationship with God than ever before. The valley, in the end, is the place where you find the strength that will carry you through the rest of your journey. The promise of fruitfulness, from brokenness to breakthrough. The promise of fruitfulness is one of the most powerful truths that chosen ones must hold onto during seasons of brokenness. When we are broken, when we feel lost, or as though our dreams have crumbled, it can be easy to believe that we are done, that our best days are behind us. But this is a lie. The very moment we are broken is often the very moment we are being set up for our greatest breakthrough. In John 12:24, Jesus speaks to this divine principle when he says, "Very truly I tell you, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds." The promise of fruitfulness is found in the process of breaking. It is in the breaking of the seed that the true potential of the plant is unlocked. The fruitfulness that follows is the evidence of your transformation. You may be walking through a season of brokenness right now, but remember this: God is preparing you for a harvest. He is using your brokenness as the fertile soil in which your breakthrough will grow. The pain you are feeling is not the end of your story. It is merely the beginning of something far greater. When God allows a season of brokenness, He does so with the purpose of bringing forth new life, new possibilities, and an abundant harvest in your life. Your breakthrough is not just for you, it is for those around you as well. As you endure the process of brokenness, God is preparing you to bear fruit that will bless others, to step into a new season of influence, purpose, and impact. Your breakthrough will not just change your life, it will change the lives of many. Embrace the process, knowing that the fruitfulness that awaits you is greater than anything you could ever imagine. Your breakthrough is coming, and it will be glorious. Embracing the season of brokenness. Embracing the season of brokenness requires a shift in perspective. It's easy to resist the discomfort of pain, to fight against the changes, and to long for things to be as they once were. But true spiritual growth comes when we choose to embrace brokenness, not as a curse, but as a blessing in disguise. Brokenness is the fertile soil where transformation begins. It is not a sign of defeat, but a mark of divine intervention, where God's hands are molding and shaping us into the individuals we were always meant to be. In 2 Corinthians 4:7, Paul writes, "But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." We are the jars of clay, and while we may be broken, we carry within us a divine treasure. The cracks in our lives, the moments of brokenness, are not the end of our story. They are the places where God's light shines brightest. Embracing brokenness means allowing God to use every part of you, the good, the bad, the painful, and the joyous, to fulfill His purpose. The season of brokenness is not easy, but it is the most transformative time in your spiritual journey. When you embrace it, you open yourself up to healing, to growth, and to a new sense of purpose. You begin to see that brokenness does not diminish you, it refines you. It strips away the things that are not aligned with your true purpose and makes room for something greater to emerge. As you embrace this season, let go of the fear and the resistance. Trust in God's process, knowing that He is working in you in ways that are beyond your understanding. Allow yourself to be molded, shaped, and transformed. The season of brokenness is not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter in your story. And when you come out of it, you will be stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your divine purpose than ever before. Lessons of brokenness, how God shapes us for greater purpose. Brokenness is not something we often seek out, nor is it a place we want to remain. Yet, it is in brokenness that the deepest lessons are learned. The pain, the loss, the disappointment, these are not simply obstacles to overcome. They are the very tools God uses to shape us for greater purpose. The process of brokenness is transformative, refining the soul and revealing the strength that is hidden within. It is a divine paradox. Through the breaking, we are made whole. Through the crushing, we are made stronger. Through the loss, we gain far more than we could ever imagine. When we encounter brokenness, whether it's the death of a dream, the unraveling of a relationship, or the loss of what we once believed to be secure, we often feel as though we've been abandoned or rejected. But God doesn't waste our pain. Every moment of brokenness is an invitation to trust Him more deeply. Through these trials, He is preparing us for a future that is greater than anything we could have planned for ourselves. The breaking is not a sign of divine abandonment, but of divine preparation. God is a master sculptor, and our brokenness is the clay He uses to mold us into His image. He sees in us what we cannot yet see in ourselves. He knows the greatness that lies hidden beneath the surface, and He uses our pain as a tool to bring that greatness to the forefront. The lessons learned in the midst of brokenness teach us humility, patience, perseverance, and trust. These lessons prepare us for the greater purpose that is unfolding in our lives. We are being shaped for something far beyond what we can understand in the moment. Through brokenness, God removes the impurities, the pride, and the false sense of self-reliance. He refines our hearts, teaching us to depend on Him and not on our own strength. In these moments, we begin to realize that our true strength does not come from ourselves, but from the One who holds us in His hands. As we yield to the process of brokenness, we step into a greater alignment with God's will for our lives, a purpose that is far greater than we could ever imagine. Trust that your brokenness is not the end. It is the very beginning of God's most beautiful work in you. The testimony of Joseph, from the pit to the palace. The story of Joseph is a powerful testament to the redemptive power of God in the life of one who endures brokenness with faith. Joseph's journey was one of incredible highs and devastating lows, and yet throughout it all, he never lost sight of God's purpose for his life. Joseph's life is a perfect example of how brokenness can lead to greatness, how betrayal can lead to blessing, and how God uses even the darkest seasons to bring about His glory. Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers, cast into a pit, and later sent to prison. It seemed as though his life was spiraling out of control and his dreams were shattered. Yet, even in the depths of his suffering, Joseph never lost his faith. He chose to trust God in the midst of his brokenness. In the pit, he didn't curse God, he leaned into Him. In prison, he didn't lose hope. He held fast to the belief that God was still with him. What is so remarkable about Joseph's story is that even when circumstances seemed to scream failure, he remained faithful. He didn't allow his brokenness to define him. Instead, he allowed it to refine him. The pits, the prisons, and the betrayals were not signs of his defeat. They were the very places where God was working behind the scenes to position him for His purpose. And in the end, Joseph rose to become second in command over all of Egypt, saving nations from famine and restoring his family. Joseph's story teaches us that no matter how far we fall or how dark the pit may seem, God is always at work. Your circumstances may feel like a prison, but they are merely the preparatory stages for the palace that God has in store for you. The pain you are enduring today is not wasted. It is the very thing that will position you for the breakthrough you've been waiting for. As Joseph trusted God through his trials, he was positioned for the very purpose for which he was born. Trust that God is with you in the pit, in the prison, and He will bring you to the palace in His perfect timing. Embrace your process, your breakthrough is near. As you walk through the seasons of brokenness, pain, and struggle, remember this: your breakthrough is near. The process of transformation may be long, and the weight of the journey may at times feel unbearable, but you are closer to your breakthrough than you think. Just as a seed must be buried in the ground before it can sprout into new life, you too are being prepared for the greatness that is ahead of you. Every season of suffering, every moment of heartache, every time you feel as though you can't go on is part of God's perfect plan for your life. He is using each moment to refine you, to strengthen you, and to prepare you for the fullness of your purpose. When you embrace the process, trusting that God is with you every step of the way, you position yourself to receive the breakthrough that is coming. The brokenness you are experiencing today is not permanent, it is a process. Your breakthrough is on the horizon, and it will be greater than you could ever imagine. It may not come in the way you expect or at the time you desire, but trust that God's timing is perfect, and He is working all things together for your good. Your breakthrough will be the fruit of your faithfulness, your endurance, and your willingness to embrace the process of transformation. As you stand on the threshold of your breakthrough, take a moment to reflect on all that you have endured, all that you have learned, and all the ways you have grown. Know that the pain you have experienced is not in vain. It has prepared you for the purpose that lies ahead. So embrace your process, knowing that your breakthrough is not far off. Keep pressing forward with faith, for God is faithful, and He is about to bring you into a season of fruitfulness and blessing beyond measure. Your breakthrough is closer than you think.